well, yeah, I am doing what I'm supposed to be doing, so, but then 60 rolled around and that was kind of a shock to the system. I'm thinking I'm 10 years from 70, 20 years from 80. Wow. What in the world? That's crazy. What am I doing? And I'd been teaching natural health type classes online and in person for the prior 10 years. Love that. I just really enjoy that. But I was restless and I just felt like things were shifting. My older 3 were out of the house, older 2, and then that third one was about to go. And then, my younger 2 are independent, older, just like everything was different this time. And I felt like I'm starting to have room to think about, what am I doing? What do I want to do? And basically it goes to purpose, which is a big longevity principle, which is partly what my book's about. And I was looking for that thing that I could wake up in the morning and sink my teeth into, right? That just really got me going and excited and everything.
Welcome to the Go Slow to Go Fast Lifestyle Podcast, the place where we explore the art of slowing down, living with purpose, and creating a life that feels deeply aligned and meaningful. Today's guest, Allison McCune Davis, is a beautiful example of what it means to embrace change with courage and grace. Allison is an author, traditional naturopath, and mom of 5 who's spent the last 25 years immersed in the world of natural health and holistic living. After years of raising her family, homeschooling, and building a thriving business in wellness, Allison found herself at a crossroads, turning 60 and reflecting on what the next chapter of her life would look like. That reflection led her to the powerful new question: what challenge would she take on to become the next version of herself? And from that seed, her latest book was born. 60 is a good start. A powerful body, a purposeful life, and a plan to make it happen. A guide for reimagining life after 60, not as winding down, but as a time to reignite purpose, energy, and joy. In our conversation, Allison shares how her leg injury, her milestone birthday, and this ancient idea of Misogi combined to shift her perspective, turning what could have been a setback into a spark for transformation. We talk about mindset, habit formation, community, and what it really means to step into the second half of life with vitality and purpose. So if you've ever wondered how to redefine what's possible, not by doing more, but by doing what truly matters, this conversation is going to inspire you to see every decade as a new beginning. Let's dive in. So I want to thank you for being here.
Yes.
And I know I want to jump right in and get to know all about your book and all the work you're doing out there in the world. But first, I want to kind of know, and we've been chatting a little bit about your recent fall, I guess, is what happened
on
maybe?
the sidewalk.
Gosh.
Yeah, with
But
some girlfriends. It's
I
crazy.
want to know more about how you're going slow to go fast right now, and then we can jump in.
That's exactly what I've been doing. It's really been interesting, and I always think when something happens, I'm always like, well, what's the reason, just on a bigger level and trying to kind of always look for that thing. And it definitely has forced me to slow down, obviously. I mean, I've put a lot of attention, like I said, in the morning and in the evening, I'm doing like these routines and they take a while because like I'm putting essential oils on that part of my leg that are specific for bone healing and inside ligaments, tendons, all that stuff too. Well, but you have to wait about half an hour to be able to take a homeopathic, so you gotta and then I'm doing the red light and I was doing ice. And so all of that took, literally good hour and a half in the morning and at night. And I just was like, I had to stop doing some other things that I might normally be doing and just focus on that. And I wanted it to heal as fast as it could. So I could get back to my normal life, which, I am that kind of type A personality that always does want to move fast. I've just always been that way, but it's a beautiful thing to slow down and I think really necessary. So I got a little, unplanned experiment in that these last 5 to 6 weeks. It's been
Yes,
good.
absolutely. I mean, we just jumped right in, but for the listeners out there, Allison Davis is joining us today, and she was just kind of sharing with me her healing journey with a recent fall that she had when you were with girlfriends.
It was. My college girlfriends, we all went up to Breckenridge, Colorado for like 4 nights, just a
Mm,
little quick fun trip. First day walking down the sidewalk after a lunch, and there was some uneven, like about a 1-inch uneven spot, and my foot just hit right there, and I just went down pretty hard. Next day I went to urgent care. I thought, we probably should x-ray this. Sure enough, it was broken.
but it's been 5 weeks. You've been putting weight on it for
Mhm.
at least 2 of those
2,
5.
yeah. I've been back at my gym training, doing strength training, and, really, I have a trainer, so working with her on, like, what should I be doing, what should I not be doing, and just little by little kinda getting back to strength. I mean, which is
Mhm.
always such a big topic anyway for
Right.
certainly for midlife and on, is that whole issue of bone density. We need muscle, so that was already super important to me to be doing that, to
Absolutely.
keep the mobility going for as long as possible.
Yes. I mean, you have a book, 60 is a good start, and we're going to talk about that. We're going to dive into that in a minute. But I mean, obviously, you also have a background in health and wellness too, natural health. And
Yes.
so you've been taking supplements and doing extra things to make sure that your healing is going well. And it sounds like it's working. And
Seems
now we're here today to talk more about it. So I'm so glad that you're able to go slow to go fast and heal yourself too.
right, right. It's
Yeah.
a good
So
thing.
tell us a little bit about how you started your journey for writing your book and what all that was about.
Well, I turned 60, so I'll be 65 at the end of this year, but this was when I turned 60. Like, I remember turning 50 and 40, a year leading up to those decade birthdays in those 2 cases was very introspective. And I just was the big questions, am I doing what I'm supposed to be doing? What am I doing with my life type thing? Well, at 40, I was pregnant with my second, started later than a lot. First was at 37. And then at 50, I was adopting our fifth. And so I kind of thought, well, yeah, I am doing what I'm supposed to be doing, So, but then 60 rolled around, and that was kind of a shock to the system. I'm thinking I'm 10 years from 70, 20 years from 80. Wow, what in the world? That's crazy. What am I doing? And I'd been teaching natural health type classes online and in person for the prior 10 years. Love that. I just really enjoy that. But I was restless, and I just felt like things were shifting. My older 3 were out of the house, older 2, and then that third one was about to go. And then, my younger 2 are independent, older, just like everything was different
Hmm.
this time. And I felt like I'm starting to have room to think about, what am I doing? What do I want to do? And basically it goes to purpose, which is a big longevity principle, which is partly what my book's about. And I was looking for that thing that I could wake up in the morning and sink my teeth into, right? That just really got me going and excited and everything. So I thought, well, I think I'm going to have to just say yes to some things that aren't necessarily that thing. Cause I'm talking like, what am I going to do for the next 5 to 10 years? That was what I was looking for, not just, the next 6 months. And so I thought I'm going to have to just say yes to some things that are going to not be the thing, but maybe get me to the thing, right?
Hmm.
So it was about a little 7-month trip odyssey of doing that. The first thing was I got into this Facebook group with Jesse Itzler. Have you ever heard of him? You know him.
Well, from listening from your book, but that
Oh,
not
okay.
before that.
Okay. But he's a big entrepreneur married to Sarah Blakely. Inventor of Spanx. And he had this big calendar, but his big thing was a Misogi. So I got into his group, and he wants you to have a Misogi for every year. That's a Japanese word for a life-changing event. It can be
Mm.
anything. It can be hike a mountain, write a book, learn a new language, repair a relationship, lose some weight, just anything that's memorable. His
Hmm.
whole thing is create memories that are memorable. And so I'm in this group that it's this all ages, men and women. I don't know any of these people. I'm just sort of perusing the Facebook group, and they're all doing kind of really fun things. That's just kind of how he is, and just really living life. And so about 3 months into that, 3 or 4 months into that, and I didn't know what my Misogi was gonna be for that year, so I was thinking, "What could I do? What could I do?" And this girl pops up and she says, "I'm gonna do 75 hard starting tomorrow. Does anyone wanna do it with me?" And I had heard of that and actually had listened to a podcast about it 4 months prior and thought then it's a big physical, mental toughness challenge for 75 days. I thought then there's no way I can't do that. And the guy that invented its tattoo, the guy, I'm thinking he's men and strong men, young men are his
Right.
target market, maybe women too. I don't know. But, I just didn't think it was me. But I listened to it again and I love this because it's such an example of nothing else changed in my life except that I was looking at that Facebook group, seeing all these people doing really cool things.
Mm-hmm.
And it was just a mindset shift that changed from over the course of 4 months that made me think I can't do it. Maybe I can do it. And I did it. And I was very inspired because I was like, this is my Misogi. I'm doing this. And I had just turned 60. Like,
Mm-hmm.
there was just something I need to do something. And then I was also in a little mastermind online with some women, all ages, just kind of asking big questions for several weeks. And then by the end of like 7 months after these things, I just all of a sudden was like, oh my gosh, I know what I'm going to do. I'm going to write a book. Of course, my brain, like everybody's brain, was in there going, what? No, you're not. Yeah, you're not a very good writer. And it's all been said before, all those things that
Mm-hmm.
all have that I call the battle of the brain. And so then I set out to do that and to combine my love of natural health, which that's been for like 30 years. And coming from I'm the daughter of a doctor. So I really grew up in a medical type world.
Mm-hmm.
And then my fascination with longevity. So looking at all these longevity studies from Blue Zones to Harvard to cancer longevity studies to
Mm-hmm.
do with lifestyle practices. And then a plan. Like it was like I can regurgitate all of this information. Okay, fine. But the whole point is how do we apply it? There has to be a plan for people to step by step take day by day to put these longevity habits. I brought them all together, what all these longevity habits were, and they fell into 3 categories that I call body work, brain work, world work. Body work's the physical,
Mm-hmm.
diet, water drinking, moving your body, sleep, all that. Brain work is the mental, emotional, spiritual, and then world work is purpose and relationships. So, and then I have the big 5 under each of those. And then you would choose something in each category, and we're going to do that for 60 days. So that's what the book leads to, is the 60-day dare. And that's why the title has a double meaning. 60 is a good start. 60, well, that's when I kind of got to this point in my life. But for anybody, it's I say midlife. Now, really, these are for a good life. These are for all ages, all sexes. But I am kind of, because I'm older, midlife female, that's kind of who I'm talking to.
Yeah.
And then also 60 days is a good start because we know from Dr. Caroline Leaf, the neuroscientist, that it takes at least 60 days to form a new habit, whether it's a physical or a thought habit. And it could take longer, could take up to 8 months, but we see that in, the nerve cells. We can see the actual formation of habit, and it's at least 60 days.
Mm-hmm.
So this book leads to a 60-day dare. There's a planner that goes with it that you can do on your own. I think people need accountability. I mean, we're just notorious for starting something and not finishing. We can keep promises to other people, but it's really hard to keep them to ourselves. And so I think, do it with friends, or I have an online program. You can do it with us too.
Mm-hmm.
That's kind of
Yeah.
it in a nutshell.
Wow. And there's so much in that you just shared. I'm sure some listeners out there are wondering, yeah, that really resonates with me. I'm either getting ready to turn a decade year, or I've been thinking about, once I did turn whatever year it was, what I'm going to do next. So
Right.
there's going to be probably a few words that people are going to want to unpack, like the Misogi, and thinking about a 60-day dare and what that could look like for you. And you don't obviously have to be turning 40, 50,
No,
60
no,
to
no,
do
no,
that,
no.
right?
It's just whenever I mean, these are just good habits to have. but also a lot of people, and I've talked to so many friends that kind of get to this point where they're starting or they are empty nesters, or maybe they've had a career. Maybe they don't even have kids and they've just been like heavy in a career for 20, 30 years and they're just, again, restless, like it's time for something different. But in the world work part, there's one section called the dream section, which you could choose to do that. And that's got 60 questions where you would journal the answer to each one, to one per day. And that I think will lead a person to hopefully figure out, what do I want to do? It's just asking those kind of pointed questions that will get you to that. Okay, this is what I want to do for the next little while.
Mhm.
Whatever that
Yeah.
is.
Yeah. And, you can listen to lots of podcasts, watch YouTube videos. There are lots of people out there that suggest journaling is a great way to reflect and then act, figure
Yes,
out what you want, and then figure out how to get it.
yes,
And so
yes.
this is a great guided practice for anybody who's looking for more structure because sometimes those reflective questions are a little open ended. And then
Yeah,
it's like, well, then what?
then what? Yeah.
That's great that you actually have some options there for people to think about. I'm also really enjoying listening to your book on Audible
Mhm.
because you're reading it. It's
Yes.
your voice. It's literally your voice
Mhm.
reading your work and you just paint an amazing picture of, anybody out there listening who's a working mom coming home to a house full of kids and just sitting in the car in the driveway for a minute and just collecting yourself before you go in to whatever you're
I
going to
do
walk
that all the
into.
time.
And it's just a great visual. I'm sure most of us have been there at one time
Yes.
or another if we're a parent. So I think it's just great.
Thank you.
Great writing. So I'm enjoying the book. And if you guys, it is out there and you can listen to it. You can buy a physical copy. You can get an electronic copy. There's lots
Yeah.
of different ways that you can get your hands on Allison's book. But are you working on anything else? Are you planning on
Well,
doing any more projects?
right now, I'm really focused on the online program that goes with it.
Mm,
So, we're in the middle of the beta test,
okay.
and there's a community, so it's on its own app. So there's a community, be like Facebook, and we post every day so we can
Hmm.
generate conversations about these kinds of topics that are in the book. And then there's a tracking system. Some people want to use their phone, other people like the planner, paper planner. So we've got both. And then there's also a weekly Zoom call for accountability. Every week, we get together on the Zoom call and just, how's it going? What's good? What's bad? What's hard?
Hmm.
Because I just, after a lot of years of these kinds of things, I, I just know how important that is because, there's everyone's heard of the statistics about, people that set New Year's goals and then like the majority of them just don't
Hmm.
happen.
Right.
There's other statistics about if you're not writing things down, like your goals, just simply that, or just being intentional like that, they're not going to happen. And I mean,
Right.
I know for me, if I don't write everything down, that well, I'll forget.
Hmm.
No, just like there has to be that real intentional, keep the planner with you during the day. Make sure you go back and look at it several times a day. Make
Hmm.
sure you did what you said you were going to do. And that I was a producer, a TV producer before I got married and had kids. And so we had to have that, organizational ability and that real ability to plan and carry out. I mean, that was the producer job, right? Then I
Right.
homeschooled my kids and same thing, needed that real detailed organization plan for every day. I mean, many times it was every hour of the day. And I think that's kind of just one of my skills was that planning and then
Hmm.
executing. So just bringing that to this, I think that's what people need. The
Yeah.
information's all out there. Anybody can Google anything, but we
Hmm.
need a plan to make it happen.
Yes. And having an accountability partner and a community to be
Yes.
able to help you is a great resource. I mean, that's not something you come across very often. And especially now when we're having a loneliness epidemic and people
Oh,
are feeling disconnected. So that's a great
huge.
way.
Yeah, yeah. Even if it's online, face to face is always better, but, online's second best. I mean,
Yeah.
if we can
Yeah.
do it, if we have it. Yeah, we
Especially
do.
live. I mean, you're
Right.
offering a live,
Yes.
interactive, weekly It's
Yes.
consistent. Yeah, that's great. That's amazing. So, are you seeing all different types of women and men joining the program, like your
Well, like I said,
online
it's
process?
just a beta test right now.
Okay.
I had a Facebook group for the book. The
Mhm.
book came out in January, end of January, and so there were several hundred people that just got into that Facebook group. But
Yes.
really, that was just kind of a holding tank until we got the app ready to go, which was,
Mhm.
well, it was July 1st. So,
Okay.
and so it was transferring or getting people who wanted to come over to a new thing, which is always hard,
Mhm.
But I felt like it was important that it was not just, you go into Facebook and you're just completely distracted by 1,000 things.
You are.
All the different groups you're in and all the different people notifying you about and looking at this and that. I felt
Mhm.
like you need something. We all live with our phones. You need a special app on your phone on the page that's your most important stuff. And you go to that every day for this, just for this.
Yes.
But anyway, most people in it right now are, I would say, women 50 and over.
Mhm.
Yeah. There's no men in there right now, although there are some men in the Facebook group, but they could certainly do it if they wanted.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I hope that people are talking about this in other podcasts. And when they hear this podcast, I hope they tell a friend, check out, 60 is a good start because it's not just about turning 60. It's just about
Mhm. This
Allison
time in
when
life.
she turned 60,
Right,
but
right.
it's 60 days to set a new
Yes,
routine and a new
yes,
habit.
yes.
Yeah. That's great. That's awesome. Well, I mean, you're a mom of five. I'm technically a mom of five. I have two children from a previous marriage in our life, from my husband's first marriage.
Okay.
And so, yeah, I mean, being a parent with five kids and being the firstborn daughter, me too, I
Mhm.
think we are natural planners. I think,
Yes, yes.
yeah. So we're probably attracting a similar audience,
Probably.
people like us. And that's
Right,
okay. We're all going to
right.
find our people, our
That's
tribe.
right. Yeah.
Yeah,
I
so
love your
it's a good
slow
thing.
down to move fast. That's a great title.
Yeah, absolutely, and going slow to go fast is just it's a mindset, much
It
like
is a
there's
mindset, and it's necessary.
yeah,
I'm always like, we have to think about what kind of person do we wanna be a year from now,
mhm,
or 5 or 10 years from now? I like to think in those sort of
yeah,
3 questions. Who do you wanna be?
mhm,
And, okay, well, what's that going to entail? And one of my favorite lines is, "Our future is hidden in our daily routine."
mm,
I remember when I heard that, I was just like, "Oh my gosh, that is so true." Our daily routine must include the things to make us become the person we wanna be.
and it's
So
so true,
that's what all of this is helping you make those things part of your daily routine.
mhm, and think about how much time we spend like you said, if you go on Facebook, you can get distracted, and so you've really thought about a way to focus the routines in an app,
Mhm.
which will be a community that people would wanna keep coming back to every day. I mean, think about all the time that we just spend scrolling through social
I
media.
know, I know.
Yeah.
It's not good. And I mean, I it's interesting, I think young people are pretty aware of that. I hate the fact that my kids have grown up. They don't know life without this stuff. That's pretty
I know.
wild.
I know. They
I
call
don't
them
know.
digital natives, right?
Yeah, I
But
don't know what that means.
I'm very grateful that there weren't cell phones and Ring cameras
Oh,
and all
yes.
those things when I was growing up because
Same. I
yeah,
know. We know what that was like, but we're the last people to know what that was like.
we are.
I mean,
Payphones, I mean, you had to figure your way home. You had to figure out if you got lost, you had to go in and talk to somebody.
I start talking like this and I feel like my grandparents, when they were 80 or 90 and they're talking about it.
I know.
It was horse
I
and
know.
carriage.
I
We didn't have
know.
cars. We didn't have TV.
We walked miles in the snow there and back. But
Exactly.
basically, I mean, we did. We had to problem solve. And I know kids are figuring out how to problem solve
They
things
are,
online all the time, but it's just
certainly.
different.
It's
Just
different, yeah.
different. It's very different. So, if listeners are wanting to know where to find you, I can make sure all your information is in the show notes. But you have a website, you
Yeah,
have
it's
this
my
app.
name. It's my full name, AllisonMcCuneDavis.com. If they wanna go to /links,
Mhm.
That gives it's not on there, you just have to know to go there, but that will give there's actually a free PDF download of my favorite supplements and practices I use to keep my immune system boosted. But
Mm,
other links to other things are on there too. But I'm also on Instagram and Facebook mostly, so you can find me there under my name.
that's awesome.
Send me a
Thank you.
DM, send me a message, and I'm happy to reply.
And you're on Instagram, okay, and Facebook.
Yes.
Okay. Instagram and Facebook. So do you ever, you were talking about the Muskogee.
Misogi.
Muskogee?
Mhm.
I want to say Muskogee because
That's a
you're
town in
from,
Oklahoma.
I know, because you're from Oklahoma. Yeah.
Right.
I'm thinking about the Muskogee.
Mhm.
Have you thought about Huga and what might be bringing you comfy, cozy thoughts maybe as we can kind of close out today? Anything that could be anything that you're grateful for or anything that's bringing you Huga this week?
And now Huga, I don't know that term.
So it's my word for the year, and it's basically like what's bringing me what's bringing me comfy, cozy feelings.
Okay, I can tell you, I mean,
Yeah.
my personal what does that for me personally is
Mhm.
my needlepoint.
Ah.
I just started doing that about 4 years ago, and, that's one of the options is not needlepoint, but creating something that, like,
Mhm.
de-stressing and for that purpose. And
Yes.
so I kind of at the end of the day, it's kind of my reward for the end of the day was to sit in needlepoint because it's very stress relieving and it's creating heirloom quality, beautiful things
Mm.
and I love it. I started when my mother-in-law was a master needle pointer, and she did my first 4 kids' stockings, and they're literally works of art, and I mean, they're just amazing, and but the 5th, she couldn't do it anymore when the 5th came along, so I thought, "I'm gonna have to do this," and I had done a little bit, like, 20 years ago, but I wasn't anything like what she was.
Mhm.
So it took me about 8 years. I'd work on this thing a little bit at a time and just finally, I guess it was about in 2021, 2020, 2021, somewhere in there, thought, "Oh my gosh, I've got to finish this before she gets any
Good.
older." So I worked on it nonstop, and that made me become a needlepoint addict. So I love to travel and go to they're usually only in big cities, the stores are.
Mhm.
And it's art, it's creativity, it's fun, it's a hobby, Hobbies
Yeah,
are really interesting. People really kinda come together around hobbies, like
they do.
so that's what I love personally.
That's awesome. There's actually a podcast about it's called Niche to Meet You. I don't know if you've listened to that
No, I
or
haven't.
heard of it. And it's actually by a woman who lives in Tennessee. I mean, she was talking about how she was interviewing all these people in the Nashville area. And so she does a deep dive on different niches.
Mhm.
So it's anywhere from people who game, like not like video games, but
Yeah.
people who go to board game,
Uh-huh.
like
Mhm.
like puzzle
Mhm.
competition.
Wow.
So I could see her doing something on needlepoint too.
Yes.
But she's done a couple of different deep dives. She did one on Stick Nation, which is about people who go out in the woods and find a stick and then they post it online. This is my stick. I mean,
That's
it,
so funny. There's a community around everything.
there
This
is.
is
And
great.
I think it just definitely connects back to what you're providing because people need that community around
Yes.
what they're interested in
What
and
they
what they're
love,
working on.
yes,
That's right.
yes. That is so
Absolutely.
funny.
Yeah.
That's a perfect example of how there is something for everybody. If there is a group for sticks,
There's a group for sticks, Stick Nation. Her name is Leslie Eller Thompson. And so she is Niche to Meet You
writing
is
that
her
down.
podcast. It's really fascinating. Yep.
Thanks.
Yeah, absolutely. So, all right. Well, if there's anything that you want to make sure you leave our listeners with before we go, any kind of
I
messaging?
guess my last thought that I'll throw out there that I think is really important, and my friends joke that I say it all the time, is environment triggers behavior.
Mm,
And, it's what the blue zones people did just naturally, but it's what we have to make an effort to do. And that is set up our environments to trigger the behavior we want out of ourselves. So put the tennis shoes out so you see them, so you put them on. Don't have them hiding in the closet. Put the fruits and vegetables at eye level in glass bowls. That's the first thing you see when you open your refrigerator door. Just put a cushion on the floor so you're more apt to sit on the floor than in the chair, and you're moving up and down, up and down.
Mm-hmm.
Just things
Okay.
like that. Really thinking about how do I set up my environment, like my supplements. They're all in beautiful crystal bowls right when I walk into my office, and I see them every time I walk in. So put them in my nighttime ones are in my top drawer of my nightstand.
Mhm.
And so now I don't see them because they're in the drawer, but I know they're there. And it's just
Yeah.
I'm in a habit of taking them every night. So,
Yes.
but like putting things in your view so you
Mm-hmm.
do them, see them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I've been thinking about night routines and morning routines more
Yes.
so, and like my hygiene, not just hygiene like doing your face,
Yes. No, I
your
know what
face
you
cleanser,
mean.
but
Your morning.
everything.
Yep.
Everything you're putting into your body, everything you're putting on your body,
Yes.
everything all the things. So I think that's a great reminder that we need to
Mhm.
create spaces where we have the things that we want to incorporate in our routine more visual and
Right.
accessible. That's great. Thank you, Allison.
You're welcome.
All right. Well, I really appreciate you being here and
Yeah.
coming and
It's been
sitting
fun.
down with me and talking about your book and your online community that you're providing everybody. All they have to do is go look for that information in the show notes. We'll make sure we have that there for them, and just, helping us all stay connected. I think that's a great service that you're providing. So thank you. Thank you so much for joining me for today's conversation on the Go Slow to Go Fast Lifestyle podcast. If you enjoyed this episode, I'd love for you to subscribe, leave a review, and share it with a friend who might need a little inspiration to slow down and live with more purpose. Every share, every review truly helps this community grow. And it helps more people find calm in the middle of their busy lives. And if you're ready to take the next step in building that sense of calm and clarity every day, check out my online course, the 3-Step Calm Stack. It's available now on my website at www.coachingwithkendrachapman.com. It's a simple but powerful framework to help you organize your day, regulate your energy, and create space for what really matters. Until next time, slowing down isn't about doing less. It's about creating more of what truly lasts. And remember, the light in me honors the light in you. And as you head into the rest of your week, let your light shine through. Take a deep breath, go slow, and I'll see you next Thursday.